What if I told you that most of the new hairstyles dominating TikTok, Instagram, and red carpets were already worn, perfected, and politicized by Black people decades ago, long before they got a cute rebrand and a PR rollout? So the next time that you see a clean girl bun, boho knotless braids, or glass hair on your For You page, I want you to ask yourself this question: who really did it first, and who got paid for it? Because in this episode of the Black Hair Narratives, we're talking about Black hair influence and the uncredited trendsetters.
Handwritten love letters, combos and quality time.
Black hair culture has quietly shaped global beauty standards while everybody else got the credit, the magazine covers, and the brand deals. By the end of this video, you will never look at effortless waves, baby hairs, or that edgy braided look the same way again. You are going to see where these trends actually came from, how the names were changed, and how the faces were swapped out once the style became profitable and palatable. We're going to connect viral trends to Black history as well. We're also going to talk cultural appropriation versus influence, and we're going to ask some pretty uncomfortable questions about who gets punished for a look and who gets praised, and who gets paid for the exact same aesthetic. So if you care about Black beauty, Black culture, and Black dollars, stay with me all the way to the end, because I'm going to show you how our hair has been the quiet blueprint behind mainstream beauty for decades, and how we can start reclaiming our credit and our power. This is more than just a cute hair conversation here, folks. This is documentation. This is history. This is the occasional commentary and the Black hair narratives. Let's start with something a lot of us know instinctively. Black hair has always been more than just hair. For us, hair is survival. It's a strategy, a political statement, and a creative outlet, as well as a cultural archive, all rolled into one. From cornrows used as a map and a message of resistance, to the afro as a symbol of Black pride, to braids and locks holding spiritual cultural meaning. Black hair has been a living, breathing history book. But here's where it gets a little messy. Over and over and over again, Black innovation becomes mainstream inspiration, and in the process, we get erased. So think about styles that were born out of necessity. Cornrows and braids that protected our hair from breakage and dryness. Bantu knots that helped stretch and style tightly coiled hair. Then let's not forget about those silk presses and the wraps that allowed us to move between textures in a world that punished anything that didn't look professional enough. Now fast forward. Those same looks are suddenly festival braids, space buns, mini knots, or boho chic protective styles, sold in lookbooks on Pinterest boards and in high-end salons, often with no mention of the cultures that birthed them. It's not just annoying, it's strategic, because once the style becomes profitable, the marketing machine comes in and it renames it, refaces it, and politely removes the Blackness from the story. So stay with me, because in a minute I'm going to talk about one of the most disrespected yet most copied hair details in the entire beauty industry. So let's talk about edges. Yes, baby hairs. There was a time when slicked, swirled, and styled baby hairs on Black women were called ghetto, too much, unprofessional, or doing the most. Remember the side eyes, the code words, and the dress codes. So let's fast forward again. Now you see high-end editorial shoots with baby hairs brushed into infinity, lace frontals on runways, and non-Black influencers doing tutorials on how to lay edges with millions of views. So what is the difference? When it's on us, it's too urban. When it's on them, it's edgy and it's creative and it's on trend. Now, the style didn't change, the face did. And that's what this episode is about. Black hair influence without black hair credit. Let's touch on the so-called clean girl aesthetic. Slick bun, glowy skin, gold hoops, laid edges. Yeah, sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Well, that's because it's being marketed like a brand new vibe. But black and brown girls have been doing sleek buns, low ponies, gelled baby hairs, and natural glam makeup for decades. We just didn't get a PR name and an aesthetic mood board to grow with it. Same thing with glass hair, bone straight, shiny, precision cut hair. Black women have been risking scalp burns, chemical relaxers, hot combs on the stove, silk presses, and wrap sets that achieved that look generations before it became an editorial buzzword. But what's the difference? Again, we did it to survive and to fit into a standard that wasn't made for us. Now it's repackaged as a trend others can dip in and out of just for the clout. So why don't you guys comment below if you've ever watched a new hair trend tutorial and thought, wait a minute, my auntie had that style in 1993. One of the most painful parts of this story is the double standard. Black kids have been sent home, yes, they've been sent home from school, told that their braids, their locks, or their afros were distracting, denied jobs or promotions, and labeled unprofessional or unkempt for the same reasons that hairstyles that now show up on fashion runways and brand campaigns were worn by somebody else. Let's ask the hard question here. How can something be unprofessional on a black body but iconic on a non-black one? That's what I'd like to know. Now, again, that's not just about hair. That's about power, race, and who is allowed to be seen as beautiful. When a black woman wears blonde bundles or a long straight wig, we hear, oh, she's trying to be white. She doesn't love her natural hair. That's not always so. But when the non-black woman wears box braids, cornrows, locks, or afro-textured wigs, suddenly it's so creative, it's so edgy, it's so high fashion. Well, same hairstyles, very different narratives. Now, add social media to the mix. Well, we've got TikTok trends, Instagram reels, Pinterest inspo boards, recycling, and black hair creativity at lightning speed. A black stylist or small creator posts a look that they get only modest views, but weeks later, a bigger non-black influencer tries that same style, calls it something new, and the algorithm goes absolutely crazy. Brands slide into their DMs with sponsorship deals and magazines tag them as the originators. Now that's not right. Meanwhile, the very communities and the cultures that nurtured and refined and carried these styles through decades of shame, policing, and discrimination get left out of the story. This is what uncredited black hair influence looks like in real time. Can you actually think of a hair trend that you saw blow up years after you'd already worn it or seen it in your community? This is important. Black people have always influenced the culture. That part is not new. What's dangerous is when we influence the look, others own the narrative, and corporations control the profit. We're not just talking about aesthetics here. We're talking about who owns the patents, who licenses the tools, who gets the brand collabs, who designs the products, and who sells them back to us at a markup. So our creativity travels, our credit does not. And when your creativity is constantly being borrowed but rarely acknowledged, it sends a quiet message. And that message is, we like your style, we just don't like you enough to name you, pay you, or share the stage. That's why a conversation like this is necessary. We're not gatekeeping, we are fact-keeping. So where do do we go from here? Well, we can start by saying the names of the cultures and the communities that these styles came from, supporting Black stylists, Black-owned hair brands, and Black educators who are preserving this knowledge. Holding influencers and brands accountable to give proper credit and pay for the culture that they profit from. We also need to give ourselves permission to experiment, evolve, and enjoy our hair without always having to defend it. Because the truth is this: modern beauty standards would not look the way that they do today without Black hair, Black creativity, and Black courage leading the way. We are not just part of the trend cycle here. What we are is the blueprint. So, as you scroll through your feeds after this video, I want you to look with new eyes. When you see the slick bun with the laid edges, the boho braids, the glossy straight bob, the sculpted baby hairs, and the curly fro that suddenly became fashion forward on the runway, ask yourself this: who built this look and who was left out of the story? Black hair has always been a trendsetter, even when the world tried to shame us, silence us, or shut us out. We turned survival into style, turned resistance into a runway, turned pain and policing into prestigious looks that everybody now wants to copy. But listen, folks, it's time that we stop being the uncredited inspiration and start being documented, start being named, and paid for what we've given the beauty world. If this conversation opened your eyes, don't just click away and keep scrolling. Like this video so that the algorithm knows that Black hair history actually matters. Then, if you found any value, please think about subscribing and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the rest of the Black Hair Narrative series, because this episode, it's just the beginning. Share this with someone who swears that these trends just showed up on social media one day. And in the comments, tell me what's one hair trend that you've seen rebranded, renamed, and removed from its Black roots. Your stories and your experiences, your receipts, they're all part of this narrative, because at the end of the day, Black hair isn't just following trends. Black hair is the trend. And from this point forward, we are naming it, we are claiming it, and archiving it right here at the Occasional Commentary and inside the Black Hair Narratives.
Handwritten love letters, combos and quality time. Baby, it's something about the way you move that keeps me swooning for you. You make me feel